Hello Year 3 and welcome to the second topic video of week 3 of this term, where we will be continuing our investigation into the science topic of light. Today we're going to be planning an investigation, predicting what might happen, and then once we've planned it, and today's video is all about sorting out the plan, then the final lesson will be to actually carry out the plan and look at the results and evaluate them. So we're going to be working scientifically, and this experiment, this investigation is all about shadows. So find someone in your family, pause this video, and I want you to discuss the following statements. Are they true or false? And if so, why? What makes you think they're true, or what makes you think they're false? So are shadows are reflections from the sun. The stronger the source of the light, the bigger the shadow will be. Shadows are made by something blocking the light, and an object can make more than one shadow. So how do you think shadows change size or direction? Pause the video, talk to someone, and let's see what you come up with. I'm now going to go through the answers. So, are shadows reflections from the sun? Well, actually that is false, because shadows aren't a reflection. Shadows are where the light is actually blocked. So you're blocking the sun. So a shadow is a blocking rather than a reflection. In fact, it's the opposite. The stronger the light source, the bigger the shadow. Well, that's actually false. The stronger the light source, the more defined the shadow, the more accurate the shadow, the more in detail or darker the shadow, but not the size of it. The size won't change. Shadows are made by something blocking the light. That's absolutely true. So as the light comes down, the shadow is caused by something blocking the light. An object can have more than one shadow. Well, if you look at the picture below of a football match, as you can see, there are 4 different light sources here, 4 very big pylons with floodlights on, and they're actually causing each of the players to have 4 different shadows. So yeah, so you can have more than one shadow of an object, because shadows are areas of darkness where the light has been blocked. So, our shadow investigation. We're going to investigate how shadows change when the distance or the angle between the light source and the object changes. We're going to be working scientifically, and our aim will be to answer the following questions. You may want to write it down at the top of your piece of paper. How do shadows change when the distance or angle between the light source and the object changes? Pause the video, write that down, and then I want you to predict what that's going to be. This is your hypothesis. So I want you to predict what's going to happen and make your hypothesis. So write that underneath, pause the video, and then come back for the next step. So obviously we're going to be continuing to work scientifically. So the next thing we're going to need is a list of things that we're going to use for our experiment. You're going to need a ruler to measure the distances. If you haven't got one of those, and I very much doubt you've got a meter stick at home, you might want to be able to use something like this, which is a tape measure. As you can see, it's inches and centimeters. Maybe someone in your family is into making or repairing clothes, and they might have one of those. Or maybe someone's into DIY and you've got a metal tape measure like this. Similarly, that will work because it does measure in centimeters. So you need one of those to measure the distance. You'll also need, the distance of the shadow. You will also need a light source. Hopefully you've got one of those, a torch or a bright bulb or something like that. And then you will need an object. Your object can be absolutely anything. I could use, for example, a little football figure. So there we go. This is a Chelsea player called Ruud Gullit, who was excellent. Or maybe a statue that I've got of an elephant. Hope you can see that. But you could just as easily use a tin of beans or a glue stick. So whatever your object is, you need to choose your object and think about what you will do to answer the question and how you're going to plan your experiment to get the best way. Maybe you want to draw a diagram to show you how you're going to use the equipment to work out your experiment. Here's one I did earlier. This one will be to look at the distance. So if you put the ruler down and you hold the torch at a straight angle like this, and then shine it on the object, you should see a shadow. And it'll be interesting to see what happens when you move the light source in measured steps along away from the object to see what happens to the shadow. Obviously, when we come to it, you'll be recording your results, but maybe drawing a diagram like this will help you work out what you're going to do. Now, if you're going to change look at the degrees, the angles, then you don't really need to measure this, because I'm sure you can all work out the right angle of the degrees. So that's obviously 0 or flat. Something like that is going to be 45, and that's going to be 90. So you don't really need to work it out, because it doesn't really need to be that accurate. Just somewhere between that and that is going to be roughly your 45 degrees, and that will help you measure the shadow that's produced. So once you've done that, you'll be ready. So this lesson is all about preparing and planning your investigation to think scientifically and work scientifically. And the next lesson, we're actually going to be doing the experiment. So think about it, write your plan, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye.